correct now to say, or as they refer to themselves, the Bandenje. They are amongst the most egalitarian and peaceful living people on earth. And I often wonder, what is it that they have, that we have lost, that they are living in such harmony with their surrounding and with each other? Well, not really speaking their language yet. I had to really rely on what they made me feel rather than what they tried to make me understand through words. So basically, I started life with them like a newborn, slowly picking up the language, and also through direct participation into life and simple observation to learn in this vast forest university. I'd say it takes you about 15 years to be proficient, so it's a long study. I documented at the time how a Benjela child learns about adult life, about ritual life, spiritual life, and also pharmacopoeia, so forest medicines, in a film called Masana. Well, last month, I had the absolute privilege to go back there. So I spent April with these people and I showed them the film. I've never had an audience better than them. They laughed at all the right places, they commented throughout, and word spread through the forest so quickly that more and more came, and we had to watch the film twice, my batteries were completely empty. And I'm so pleased to say that they were really happy with the way that I documented life and how we showed their rituals. It was really a marvelous experience. However, I didn't really go there to show the film. I was sent out there by UNICEF to look at the rights of women and children of indigenous societies, how such rights are defined and how such rights change if they become sedentarized. So I compared a community that lives here in a logging town. They have access to the local hospital. Children are vaccinated. Many of the men of this community actually work for this logging community. Here I recorded no maternal deaths, no infant deaths in the past 12 months. Edunda here, who you see here, she's planning to give birth to her baby. She is about 5 months pregnant in the local hospital. I'd just like you to take note of her expression. The next community I visited lives impoverished near this logging town. Their husbands or the men there do not work for the logging company. Here I recorded 2 maternal deaths in the last 12 months, and 6 children under the age of 5 died within the last 12 months. So these people are sort of semi-sedentary, not having that much access to their normal forest life anymore, but not yet really being employed or having an income by working for the loggers. Then we travelled, you see my daughter Inea here, she came along, thankfully, by dugout canoe down the river to visit the communities that I had stayed with 18 years ago, that still live in the forest. It was so great to see them again after such a long time. This community has no access to healthcare whatsoever. None of the children are vaccinated because even vaccination teams do outreach programs. There's still institutionalized discrimination, so they're not really seen as, although it's a large community living in a camp near a large river, to include them into such campaigns. I recorded no maternal deaths and no infant deaths within the last 12 months. What was really interesting here was that they know tetanus, and they said, when I asked, so what do you do if a child has tetanus? They said, well, we'll just use forest medicines, this and this. So I noted that, but I doubted it. Anyway, I'll talk about that later. This is Ingoyo. She was sitting outside her hut when we arrived. She's an old friend, and she was very pregnant. It was really wonderful to meet her again. So a few hours later, tent set up and everyone greeted, I was called back to her hut. And I don't know whether you can make this out. Inguyo had just given birth to her gorgeous plump little baby daughter whilst we set up our tents. The face of a mother who has given birth as nature intended, who is bonding with her baby, that love that saturated this leaf hut. I couldn't record it because it was just ridiculous to use a flashlight and disturb such a sacred moment. So that's the only photo that came out. You can make out the little newborn baby girl lying here. She was washed with hot water, the umbilical cord was also washed and then sprayed with saliva, which is a natural disinfectant. Well, so much of what I know about pregnancy, birth, and parenting, I really learned from these amazing little big people and also their vast knowledge. You can't. So you see that the little head is here. That's the little head. Here. That's the little face. Completely contented. And the mother was just beaming and radiated the heart. But I took photos, but it didn't come out. For me, it was straight back into Forest University. These are my friends Njimbo and Kombea. And they help me into a birthing position that is helpful for mothers who have fear to release their babies into the world. Please note where Njimbo holds me around the chest. When I did work with the Mayan midwives from Belize, they talk about the fourth and fifth rings of power that need to be squeezed. They hold anger and they also hold fear. They need to be squeezed and worked on in order to release the baby. The Yaka acknowledge very much that if a woman has a difficult time in labor, it's usually due to, if she has obstructed labor, for example, it's due to the husband sleeping around. And a woman will usually know that. What happens in us if we are not free for birth? We do the 38-week prep talk, with people. So they have ingenious methods of coaxing the baby out. Birth spacing is typically 3 years between babies. The Yaka women know how to also prevent an unwanted pregnancy. Breastfeeding is also usually for about 3 years. Many anthropologists have noted what loving parents pygmy hunter-gatherers really are. It is so wonderful to see that love and play is a crucial catalyst to all development, has long been recognized and is a lived reality with the Yaka. Children are carried 100% of the time on a body, all the time, up until they can walk. They're either carried in cloth slings or in bark slings. So if you are walking in the forest and all your clothes are wet, then you just rip off a bit of bark. And obviously if you have two, you carry two, unless they sleep on grandma's lap. Benjele fathers are fully involved, and they have been documented. There's a beautiful book called it's called Intimate Fathers. Yes. They are fully involved, they're completely dedicated and loving, and spend as much time with their children as the mothers do. This is actually a friend of our son, who is a dad now. Now, a child's health is protected and maintained by these mopodis. They are ropes, they are forest lianas, and I cannot explain how it works. I've tried and tested them myself for toothache. They work, I don't know how, but you have no longer toothache if you tie it around your neck, for example, or if you do your back in, as I did one time playing in the river with my son, Rocket. I twisted my back, they tied a rope around me, I was pain-free. So here, Conveas has insisted on tying this rope on my daughter to protect her walking in the forest. This secret knowledge is held, guarded, and passed down from mother to daughter, if it's forest medicine, and also through initiation by the women spirit owners. They are called Konja. And the woman you see here is Ngo. She is amazing. She is the owner of Ngoku. Ngoku is the women's spirit of sexuality, reproduction, and birth. The wisdom, the kindness, the love of these elders, of these wise women, is so vast. In my life, I have never seen old women like these so sensuous, so sexy, dance in a way that doesn't only make you blush, makes you go all colours. They are fantastic, and it is this knowledge that they still share to this day. Now, Ngoku is a closely guarded secret. It's danced in the forest away from the men and away from the uninitiated. It's the raw, amazing, fabulous, fantastic power of what it means to be a woman. You will see that I just hover on the outskirts. Only female children are allowed, and little girls can stay on the outside and practice a little bit and try out whether they can wriggle their hips like that. Ngoku is really closely guarded. The women will act swiftly and also powerfully should a man dare to come too close to their secret area called the Njanga. They wait, he passes, they continue. No way, this is women's magic. Men have nothing to do with it, and men respect this. Vice versa, also. Men's Njanga, women respect that. There's a mutual appreciation and a mutual respect that is very, very important to them. There is, of course, a public display of Ngoku where everybody can see and men can participate. And very, very often, men will actually come from behind on the outskirts to show their appreciation for this actually really desirable energy. She took it in her stride. That was her first day. You may ask now, what does this have to do with Birthlight? It has a whole lot to do with Birthlight. Birthlight was also conceived in a forest, in a different forest, but it was the Peruvian Amazonian Indians who initiated Françoise and said, you have to take this to the West from hearing how birth happens here. And although she first thought, I'm a medical anthropologist, yes, this is very interesting, but well, what's she doing now? Similarly for me, I work in public health, so when I told them how birth happens here, they said, bring your big eye. They meant my camera. They shouted. I couldn't find the clip. I meant to show it, but I couldn't find it. I had little time. I only returned 3 days ago from the Congo. So they said, bring your big eye, and they shouted, you are killing women. This is really bad. Listen to us. Come and learn from us. And they said, bring all these women, we'll initiate them all. So there you go, you have a chart of light. The knowledge in the forest is vast. And unless you really listen, girls are taught how to find medicinal and edible lianas. And I tell you, it takes some looking to know which ones are which. I think we must reconsider this ancient knowledge. If we really want to counteract the over-medicalization of childbirth, we might have reduced maternal mortality, but what I am observing, seeing that we have increased mobility. Women here do not, in general, birth in dignity. A lot is stripped away, and I think infusing this ancient knowledge with the modern research we have, that we exchange, then we can also help that this can survive into the generation of our children and their children as well. That was Inea giving her friend as present.
Their singing is really known since the ancient Egyptians. It is pocketed interlocking polyphony, it's called in technical language. It simply means that you sing, you give your energy to the group according to your ability, but you leave a space for someone else to add theirs, and they leave a space for someone else to add theirs. So if you can touch, I teach you just 3 lines to make you feel it, and what we really try to achieve is that you, as you sing, so as you give energy, at the same time you receive it. So you should hear the other sing as much as you hear yourself sing. The first line is very simple. It goes like this. So when I say disholoi, you all go whoa, as one, not whoa, 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 whoa. It's disholoi, whoa, disholoi, whoa. Excellent. So okay, what we do now is you at the front, you keep singing that, and you all at the back, you do the second line, okay? We start together.